Hi everybody and welcome back to another Legends of Runeterra video. Today is just going to be a short video. We're going to be going over the patch 1.13 notes. Going to be looking at a couple of changes that the dev team has made, and they kind of mentioned this the last time that they were going to make changes to Lee Sin, and then in a month, 2 weeks ago, so in 2 weeks from now, they're going to be updating some champions. So let's go ahead and read what they have to say here. We'll just go right down here to the card update section. As we mentioned last patch, we're using patch 1.13 to implement a Lee Sin change we've been working on and would like to get out the door immediately, along with a nerf to make it rain aimed at Bilgewater's general strength. While patch 1.14 in 2 weeks will be one of our larger mid-expansion balance updates. Those changes will focus mostly on small improvements to several foundations set champions, as well as some nerfs aimed at ensuring metagame health in the lead up to the first seasonal tournament in December. So that's pretty interesting. So the changes are going to be small improvements, so you're not going to really see any major reworks as far as I can tell, any sort of major changes to these champions, but they're going to be focusing on the base set champions. So everything that was originally released to Legends of Runeterra before the Rising Tides and before Call of the Mountains. So a lot of those original champions, there's a lot that really aren't used that much. Yeah, and I would like to see some improvement to that. So that'd be cool to shake up the meta a little bit, make these champions a little more viable and potentially more fun to play. So yeah, next patch. So in 2 weeks we'll be seeing that. So let's go ahead and look at the changes to Lee Sin here. While our changes to Lee Sin in patch 1.10 made him much more playable and brought Ionia and Targon buffs into the meta, his newfound efficiency has proven overbearing. Yeah, you can say that again. Particularly in combination with his deadly combo kill potential once granted Overwhelm. We want to maintain Lee Sin's usability, but at a fair price point that keeps him from dominating early round combat. Alright, so Lee Sin, as you are all aware, is a 4-cost champion. So it looks like he's being nerfed. It's going up to a 5-cost champion, but his health is getting a buff. Health is going from 4 to 5. The health really is pretty inconsequential. It may play a role in some decks, but for the most part, it's not very important because he pairs himself with regions and with spell combinations and cheap spells that allow him to get barrier off, and so more likely than not, you're not actually going to be able to kill him with just by bashing his health down. That's not a huge buff. It is a little bit of one, and in some cases it could end up kind of determining whether or not Lee Sin is going to live or not. So it is kind of interesting that they are giving him the health, but overall it's not that big of an issue. Vengeance is still going to kill him unless he's got spell shield, but that doesn't really affect anything. And yeah, just he's going to be able to get barrier off pretty efficiently, so you're not going to be able to deal a whole bunch of damage to him anyway. The real nerf is him coming out on turn 4 or turn 5 instead of turn 4. It's a decent size nerf. We're going to see, I guess, during the actual play how much this is going to affect him. We're still seeing a lot of Zed in decks with Lee Sin, which is kind of his secondary win condition, right? Because you can still, Zed's still coming out on turn 3. He's still getting Zenith Blade used on Zed, and I've been, beat by Zed a couple of times with the Overwhelm on him, as well as getting like a Mentor of the Stones down and buffing up the Zed and making it really hard to kill the Zed as well. So we might see, I guess, more emphasis on Zed in these decks. But yeah, Lee Sin coming down on turn 5 slows down Lee Sin just a little bit. He still has to cast 8 spells in order to level up, which is fairly easy still. And he doesn't have to be on the board to see that level up condition met. So we're slowing down, I guess, the pace at which Lee Sin comes down, at which pace he can potentially kill us and set up a kill. I'm not convinced that this is going to change a whole lot about Lee Sin. Once again, we're going to have to see, I guess, what actually happens, but a turn 5 play instead of a turn 4 play, I don't know if that's necessarily enough. I wonder if they should have increased the amount of spells that you needed in order to level up Lee Sin. I think that would slow him down quite a bit. Kind of like the thing they did with Ezreal, right? This is almost a secondary win condition like Ezreal. You're still dealing damage to the enemy nexus, but because you've got the Overwhelm on, and just because he's able to, one, hit you into your own nexus and then power through that as well into a, one-hit combo, a one-hit kill combo, it's almost like a secondary win condition like Ezreal, and just by increasing Ezreal's amount of targets in order to level up was enough to kind of nerf him almost pretty much completely out of the meta. I know they don't want to do that with Lee Sin, but I kind of think that they should probably have increased the amount of spells that he needed to use rather than increase when he comes out. We'll kind of see how this goes, like I said, and how much this influences his play. I kind of doubt it's going to influence that much. We're still going to see him. I think it's still going to be a strong deck, and they want to maintain him as a strong champion. They don't want to nerf him out of, viability, so I can see why they're just nerfing the cost of him. Alright, and then just kind of standard, his level up, he's just getting 1 more health as well. Alright, now for Make It Rain. Make It Rain has played an outsized part in Bilgewater's recent strength as a powerful tool for repeatedly punishing opposing unit development. Its many synergies with barrels, plunder, and champion quests and skills have combined with high access through cards like Zap Sprayfin and Misfortune for her champion spell to make the card overly available, efficient, and effective. This change should bring Make It Rain back or more in line with other damage spells potentials and weaken Bilgewater's overall toolbox. That said, Bilgewater's strengths are resilient with a wide array of effective options, and some Bilgewater decks may be able to replace Make It Rain or simply still use it, while retaining most of their current strength. We'll continue to monitor the region's overall performance and make additional changes as needed. Alright, so it's going from a 2-cost to a 3-cost spell. So this is pretty good because this reduces the amount of punishment the enemy can do to you on round 2. There's a lot of units that have 1 health that you play on round 2 and even some on round 3. So this is going to limit, especially depending on if they develop on round 1 or not, right? And then they have to commit quite a bit of mana on turn 2 in order to take out some of your units. So units that I'm thinking of are like the Trifarian Glory Seeker, who's a very powerful unit but can be extremely punished by Make It Rain. Let's see, there's some other units that Blighted Caretaker is another one that is punished pretty hard by Make It Rain. That comes out on turn 3. There's a lot of 1-cost units that are 1 health now. Anyway, yeah, this card was really powerful. I think it's still, they even admitted that it's probably not going to be enough to not include it into Bilgewater decks. So that means they've probably tested it out. They kind of know that it's still powerful. They're talking about the overall ability to draw this card with Zap Sprayfin and Misfortune. The 3-cost isn't going to affect that at all. It's just going to affect how much you can play. You're still going to draw it with Zap Sprayfin because he's drawing out a card that costs 3 or less, so you can still get it with Zap Sprayfin. Misfortune is still going to be in her hand, so this really just reduces the early game potential of this card. It's not going to affect you a whole lot late game. And yeah, I think it's still an okay card. The nerf, I think, is welcome because it does allow a lot more development and I guess including cards into decks that wouldn't normally be there. These 1-cost or 1 health units that die super easily. So overall, pretty happy with that change. Lee Sin, I think he's still going to be pretty strong. I don't think the reduced ability to play him is going to, on turn 4 is going to really affect him that much. Overall, happy with the Make It Rain changes though. Alright, and that's about it. Just some changes to expeditions and things. So, yeah, expect more changes next patch. I'm kind of excited for that. Want to shake up the meta a little bit more. It's good to see that Lee Sin is getting kind of nerfed here as well as Bilgewater. So, might open up some new decks that we're going to be able to play and increase the odds of winning with. So anyway, if you enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks.